G'day folks. Well, I want to talk about why I run a paper style gasket over the MLS or the multi-layered steel gaskets, head gaskets. There's a couple of reasons. Well, there's one very important reason, guys, and that is this is your fusible link, which is basically your fuse to keeping your engine in one piece. Now, if your tune is good, if your fuel is good, everything is happy with a turbo boosted engine, you should not push a gasket. Now, there is a point, I want to stipulate here, there will be a point that a paper gasket, even though the tune is spot on or very conservative, there will be a point when it comes to horsepower level that even a paper gasket would struggle. But for what I'm doing, and for any guys that are first learning to turbo their cars or turbo their engines, stick with a paper gasket, guys, because this is all you've got to save your motor in most cases. This is your first warning. It'll pop one of these, it'll blow it out wherever there's a weak spot on one of the cylinders, and you'll have smoke instantly coming out of the engine. You cannot mistake a blown head gasket, trust me, because I've done 3 of them. And you will lift the foot off the throttle and there's something majorly wrong. Whether you've run out of fuel, for whatever reason, it will push a gasket. Now, if you had a multi-layered steel gasket in there, there's every chance, guys, that you will not pick it up. And you will still keep pumping that motor. You will still keep leaning on it. What happens then if one of these don't go? It's going to start wanting to put holes in pistons, blow ring lands out. It's just going to absolutely destroy your engine. You run that engine for a few seconds longer than before you even know about it, and you've done damage. Most cases with a blown head gasket, you're relieving that cylinder straight away. It will just push out, and then by the time you register that it's gone, you will back off the throttle and you'll know instantly there was an issue. So as soon as you relieve one spot of the head gasket on that cylinder, 2 or 3 cylinders or whatever reason, you've saved your motor. Yes, you've pushed a gasket and it's a pain in the ass to have to fix it, but it's a lot cheaper, guys, than having to rebuild your engine and start all over again. So it gives you a chance to correct what was going on, whether your tune was crook, you got the engine too hot, for whatever reason, it gives you that chance to replace your head gaskets and fix the root of the problem. And that, guys, is why I stick to these style of gaskets. You can make great horsepower with them. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. I'm proof of that. Years ago, when I had the cast heads on, I was up running around 12 pounds of boost with this same engine but with the different heads on it. And I was going around the track doing a race, and I was on the last lap, and it was a hot day, around 30 degrees, and the engine got really hot, up around 240, okay? I felt the power drop off, and I really did, and it was just laying over, but I kept the foot into it. And it wasn't until I pulled this engine back, pulled it apart, I started to egg a gasket. So it was working on it. It wasn't a happy situation, that motor, but it was just enough to keep the engine alive still, but not hurt anything. Cast pistons, I had, my ring gaps weren't over big at that time, so it didn't hurt the engine. If I'd have probably run another lap, it would have popped a gasket, but saved the motor. That's what I was getting at, guys. So this is your little fuse for saving your engine, and that's why I love a paper gasket. If your tune's good, and keep your tune well down. If this is sort of the limit on your tune, keep it well down, so you've got yourself that cushion of of variance, especially with these old school engines. You need that. And you won't have an issue with these things, and that's why I love them, guys. So yes, there is a place for those MLS gaskets, for the extreme versions, for the ones that are really in song with their engines. Go with those, but for us everyday guys that are running moderate to low boost, these are the go. Don't ever step into the MLS, because it's not going to tell you when the engine's unhappy, and it's going to cost you a lot of money at the end of the day. So I'm making close to, well, basically 700 horsepower on these, and it's loving it, guys. Not pushing a head gasket, the motor's happy, and I'm going to have a little bet with you guys. I reckon I could make close to 1,000 horsepower on paper head gaskets. Sloppy mechanics proved it, and I can prove it. Alright guys, well, it's just a little tip for today to save you a lot of money at the end of the day and a lot of heartache. Alright guys, I'll put a vid up soon. I'll catch you later.